Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Monday evening community call. I'm one of your co-hosts, Robin Blank Mascari, along with my husband and partner on every level, Gregory, and we get together every Monday night to celebrate people, to give updates, training, support. It's our community call, and we love having you here. So if you're brand new, welcome, and excited to be here. And tonight we have a really special guest and a special treat, I should say, for those of us, and there were a whole bunch from our community, which was so fun, got to be in Tulum. We actually had a business meeting. And it wasn't the business meeting like Gregory and I had in the cantina or that I had in the pool. This was actually in a meeting room. The company organized a wonderful meeting for everyone that was there. And one of the presenters was our very own Connie Lucas, who is actually an expert in retention, not just retention of customers, but retention of distributors. And she's going to share some wisdom with us tonight. She is a presidential director. I'm excited about getting to congratulate her when she's senior presidential, and she will be there in the very near future. And it's very exciting. So I want to welcome you, Connie Lucas. And I know Gregory's behind the scenes and he's going to be doing PowerPoints for you. So I'll bow out and turn it over to you, my dear. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so very welcome. And thank you, Gregory. You know, I can't do this without Gregory. The PowerPoints as a hairdresser are not my skill set. So Gregory, if you want to throw up that PowerPoint, let's go over a few of the things we talked about when we were in Tulum. And we'll go to the next screen.
Hold on just 1 second. This is the last screen. I'm going to stop my share for a second.
Sure.
I had things kind of backwards. So we'll begin in the beginning. That's a good place to start.
Right from the very beginning.
That's right. Okay.
One of the things that we're going to talk about as Gregory pulls that up is we're going to talk about the idea that we all work really hard when we're out there. You know, we put ourselves out there and we share with people, and we use our method of operation where we create curiosity and we talk to people, and people come in. And the more people that you talk to, the more likely that you're going to have more enrollments. However, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stick. So if we go to the next slide, what we're going to talk about, and some of you saw me talk a little bit about this during convention last November, and that's if you're experiencing what is an industry term called churn. And all that means is that times when you're feeling like as fast as you're putting people in, they're going out and leaving just as fast. And particularly if you're not doing the business with intention and you're not doing so many a day or a certain intention to it, sometimes you can feel like you're getting no momentum at all, that there's no progress because you're very slowly putting people in just as you kind of come across them. And then sometimes they're falling out before or as soon as you get that next person in. And that gets really, really frustrating. So we want to talk about that. And we want to talk about, as leaders, how you can recognize that this is going on in your business, because maybe you have many years of experience, or maybe you've worked in industries that you're really good with customer service and you're really good at taking care of people and supporting them, but you're watching that your team is not duplicating in the same way. So how can we identify what the particular issue is? And sometimes the issue is that maybe we're not talking to enough people, maybe we're not asking the right questions, but other times it's a retention issue. So what I noticed was if you go into your back office and you go under organization, and then you scroll down to the tab that says personally enrolled. And you can do this for yourself, and you can do this for teammates who you might think might have a retention issue. And if you go into that report, and as you look at the personally enrolled people, if there's a whole bunch of red X's all the way down the page, you know the problem isn't that they're not talking to people, and the problem isn't that they're not enrolling people. Really, the core issue is they're having a retention issue. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how can we change that? So if we go to the next slide, we came up with 3 keys to keeping them in and moving them along. And we're going to talk about setting reasonable expectations. We're going to talk about education, and we're going to talk about connection and community. So if we go to the next slide, we're going to talk about setting reasonable expectations. So there's going to be one bullet point at the top of every slide, and it's going to say what is important to them. So this is always going to be key to retention. Those of us that like a lot of information, we think everybody likes a lot of information. And most of you have probably heard Robin say, do you like a little information, a lot of information, or somewhere in between? We're really working to their appetite. But finding out what's important. Another tool that Robin created was a lead generation thing that she form that she used at events, and it asked people questions about what were they looking to improve in their life, and it had all these different items, and now you know what's important to them. So those are some simple ways to get to it, but asking questions. And the key is not just asking the question, of course, it's the listening piece. So many of you have heard me talk about mine, which is the magic wand question. If anything were possible and I could wave a magic wand, what would that look like for your health? What would that look like financially or lifestyle? And let them talk. Once they start talking, ask them, tell me more. And really dig into what it is that's important to them, because instantly you will know the button. You will know the thing that's going to get them to the place where they are a lifetime customer or distributor. So when I'm sharing setting reasonable expectations, so they tell me what they want, right? Now I've got to set reasonable expectations, because so many of us have seen the miracle stories. Maybe we were the miracle story, something that happened really quickly, and it was very profound. But not everybody is like that. And so for me, my first experience was watching my husband's wound that was the diameter of a quarter heal completely within 7 days. That was pretty spectacular. But when I started using the patches, I didn't have really immediate results. I noticed in the first 24 hours that I slept better. But then I noticed about 2 weeks later, I was recovering a little quicker from workouts. I wasn't getting as sore. But the big aha for me came at 2 months, when all of a sudden an old knee injury started acting up. And after talking with Dr. Nicholas, I realized that it was healing. And that was what was going on. For some people, it can be 6 months or a year. Many times I share a quick story and a longer story. For example, one of my customers who, when I patched them, they were having shoulder issues. Took several months for the shoulder to resolve itself. So after that, he assumed he didn't need the product anymore. But his wife noticed that he wasn't as good of his mood, and she noticed that he didn't have as much energy. And she suggested that he got back on the X39 patch. Well, he did that, and he was consistent. And lo and behold, within a year, many of you have heard the story that I tell in our Vibrant Living group, where he had 2 different eye disorders, of which there is no cure. And within a year, he was having results, and his doctors all said, I can't believe this. I've never seen it before, but you have no evidence of disease in either eye. Now, was it a combination of what they were doing? Was it a combination of the X39 helping that? Or was it the X39? It's not really the point. The point is that if he had gotten off those patches at 2 months, he would have never got to that spectacular result. So you want to share varying amounts of times and the long-term cumulative benefits. I think Dr. Chevalier's brain mapping is a perfect example where you can see the brain literally changing at 2 weeks, at 4 weeks, at 6 weeks. We know that it's cumulative. So set up those type of expectations right from the beginning. Many people use the preferred customer program to set up a long-term 6-month commitment. I've had distributors talk about when they get very, very confident, say things like, give me a year. Use these patches for a year. You'll thank me. And so one of the things that you want to remember as we're talking about the examples and we're doing everything is one of my distributors, Dr. Dennis Pena, came up with the phrase, X39 is the patch to rule them all. So that's always our starting point. and anything else, unless we're getting them out of pain, is simply an add-on. So the next thing we want to talk about is three-way calls and Zooms. And we had a distributor in our downline who is amazing. She's doing amazing work. She's cold calling. She is really putting in the effort. And she got on with myself and her sponsor, and she said, I'm struggling. I'm just not getting the conversions. And what we realized is that she thought, because she's a capable person and she knows how to do this, that she didn't need to use the team or the three-way call or the third-party validation. That she was like, well, I can do this myself. I don't need to bother everybody. The minute that we were able to encourage her to ask people's questions and get them to someone else, it completely changed her enrollments. Everything started changing when she got her sponsor on a call. And one of the things that her sponsor talked about is the verbiage, what's your current trajectory if you do nothing? She really started asking questions about what was going on. And then she started asking about, if you do nothing, how do you see this playing out? And she let the people consider what it was going to be like if they did nothing to change their current situation. But then she didn't try to sell them and tell them, well, we can help you with that and we can do this. What she did then, she asked the question, would you like to change that? And then you have to get quiet for a minute, because you got to let them get that feeling and that realization that, yeah, I do want to change that. And from that point, then you can talk about the expectations. You can talk about what they're going to do to get to that, and let them know that you're there to support them. What I say all the time when I enroll someone, whether they're a customer or distributor, and I truly mean this, is I'm not interested in selling you a patch. I'm not interested in selling you a product. I am interested in you getting your desired outcome, and I will walk that with you. And it may be fast or it may take time, but we'll get you there. And that's what people want. They want to know that they're supported through this and that they're going to get the benefit eventually that they're looking for. So I like to use the InTouch app to set up reminders for follow-ups and to connect with people, because let's face it, we're all really, really busy. And without this tool, I would have a very difficult time keeping track of things. So some of the new distributors that I've signed up in the last week, I know that I want to stay a little closer to them in the next few weeks. So I go into my InTouch app, which of course I use to send them videos in the beginning and to follow up and to get them enrolled. Now I'm going to use the app as touch points and reminders to keep connected. So I'm going to go in and I'm set a reminder of myself to look for when their patches arrive. And today I had someone whose patches arrived, and I was able to send a text and make sure they got them. And we were able to go through some questions, and they had questions about patch placement. So I went back to the app and I sent some videos directly from the app on how to place them. I didn't tell them I used the app so I could show duplication. And then I set a follow-up for this weekend so that I can go back and remember when that follow-up comes up to go back and say, hey, how have things been going for the last few days? And then you can troubleshoot, then you can get their questions answered. And many times that'll be another three-way call, or maybe I'll put them on the doctor's Zoom. I mean, we have Dr. Barbara Jennings tomorrow. Which doctor Zoom do we not have that's not fantastic? And what a great place to then remember to send people to as that third-party validation and that information beyond you. So let's go to the next slide. We know how to set reasonable expectations. Now, what are we going to do to educate them? And again, everybody has a different appetite. So make it about them and what interests them. Some are really into the science. We're going to send them to the science page. They're really into the patents and the published studies. We're going to get them there. But a lot of people are just interested in what the benefit is going to be to them. So using the health tracker and tracking how were they before and what's going to happen as they utilize the patches over 24 hours. 7 days, each week leading into a month, 2 months, 3 months. We really want to track that and help them track what's happening. Because believe me, I think you've probably all noticed this. Somebody gets a result and they don't even tie that result back to the patches. And I hear this over and over again. I am constantly, when I hear somebody saying, oh gosh, yeah, I've had so much more energy lately, or wow, I'm really a lot more flexible in my workouts, or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Isn't that great? That's exactly what the patches do. I noticed that too. So you're tying their results back to the patches, because most of the time they haven't connected the two together. I had a customer who started in December, and we met up the other night for dinner, and we were talking about a few things, and we're adding in a couple other patches now for her and her husband. And we started talking about this. She goes, I completely forgot that my shoulder resolved itself. It started kind of aching a little bit again. And then pretty soon it's gone. I would have never thought that it was the patches doing that to my shoulder if you hadn't pointed that out to me. So make sure to tie those results back. Dripping relevant information. You can send them if their appetite and they want more. If you're asking them, would you like to learn a little bit more? What interests you? And you can send them videos from InTouch app. You can use the YouTube channel, either of corporates, YouTube channels and the webinars David's done. You can use all the fabulous webinars we have in the liveyoungeryoutube.com in our community, and use the Facebook groups. Put them into the relevant Facebook group of Vibrant Living and or our Live Younger communities, so that you can then tag them in education and information that is, again, relevant to them. A well-educated customer or distributor will never leave a technology like this. So let's go on to the next one. And then connection and community. So again, what do we have right at the top? Make it about them. What interests them? And so when you're tying them into these community calls, when you're tying them into the Live Younger community, or you're tying them into the Vibrant Living community, if they're a customer or a prospect, you're helping to make them feel value, and you're building trust. And so those are really, really important pieces for someone to feel connected to the community, to the brand, and to what the product is doing for them long term. Again, the Facebook groups, get them in there for the stories, help tag them in things for the before and after photos. Maybe you've got some good before and afters you can send them personally, things that relate to them. And then another piece is, now we're back to in-person meetings, whether it be the home or the venues. And we've always been doing the team Zooms. Again, if you can get them to the community. Nobody does community like Robin and Gregory. I've never seen this before in past companies I've worked with, where they really, really bring everybody together, and there is something for everyone. So remember, the team Zooms, you have the Monday product chats, the Monday miracle call. People love that, whether they're a customer, whether they're a prospect, whether they're a distributor, they're going to get value from that call. If they're a distributor or a customer who's leaning forward and they want more business, we have the chat on Thursday mornings that's going to give them any of that type of training and information. You're going to use the doctor Zooms. Those are fabulous prospecting Zooms, but they're also things to educate and connect everybody to the community. So this is a really, really big key. And make it fun. I mean, my goodness, fun, laughter is key. I know many of you know me, and from the fact that I stated when I came into LifeWave that if I couldn't do this with joy and ease and surround myself with people who were joyful and had fun and laughter, I wasn't interested in doing network marketing again. And so we really have created that in our community, and keep it fun. That's what attracts people to you, whether they're a customer or a distributor. It's what keeps them in when you can do things with joy. And I have Anna Moreau's name here because she was at the event. She had heard some of her team members in Tulum as well. And she does in-person community events like nobody I've ever seen. I'll give her a shout out. Twice a month, her team up in Maine holds a community dinner. They invite people to a dinner or a brunch, and they sit around and they break bread, and they ask the guests and everybody there, why are you here? What value can we add? And they find out what's going on. And then that helps to tailor the presentation so that they get the information they need. And it just ties them in to the community piece. And it's really amazing when you can do that. So the one thing I definitely want to end with is, if you give value, you will never be selling. And so many people come into this because the products work and they're really nervous about selling. And I can tell you right now, the people that I see excelling in this business, they're not selling, they're caring for people, they're helping them get their results. And that's what's going to hold on and create customers and distributors for life. So back to you.
Oh my, Connie, thank you so much. Over the years, I've learned that the products and the business will get people in, but it's that education and connection that keeps them in. Everybody wants to belong to something, and everybody wants good health, and the wealth is pretty good too. And we're educating our customers about the products, our distributors about the products and the business. But it's that connection. That's the real glue. And that's, thank you for your acknowledgement. That's what Robin and I really strive to do, is help create the opportunities for that glue to stick, So, bringing you on today and talking about retention is something that's so close to my heart, because I use the analogy of the front door and the back door. You get it, they come in through the front door, but if the back door is wide open, you're just churning, like you said. But if you can close the back door, and the way you close the back door is say, hey, let's break some bread together. Hey, tell me more about you. And it's that connection that you and your team do so well. So I just can't thank you enough.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, ditto, ditto, ditto. And you said it over and over again, Connie. It's about them. And that's, if people can make that shift and really get what Connie's talking about, that, we always want to do what's best for them, not what we want, what we think we want for them, or where we know they can be, or what do they want? And people are going to move at the pace that they move at. And so the relationship that you just kept anchoring in over and over and over again about, it's when we follow up with people, they feel like you care about them, and people want to do business with people that they know, they trust, that care about them. And then they want to stick around. And the value, you also talked about the value, because, we don't notice what vitamin C does for us, but we've been educated enough that we take it, And so the same thing is true with our products. When people are educated well, like you provide, and tag them in posts and get them in Vibrant Living and expose them to stories, the more they get the value of what we have, they won't ever leave it. When I share with people about the cognitive study, and I'm sharing with baby boomers, they're never going to leave, So thank you. And yes, fun. And 3 ways. And someday Gregory's going to tell his story about 3 ways. And it is the magic of the business. It really is. It's not that you can't answer the question, but it is about duplication and the 3-way calls. Connie's not duplicatable, but 3-way calls are. Okay. Thank you, my dear. Really, really a huge contribution. And I wrote in the chat, love, 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 love using the app for follow-up with customers and distributors. That is a great nugget and treasure that I hope everyone heard. Okay.
Okay, so back to the newsletter. And as Connie said, tomorrow night, we're very blessed to have Dr. Barbara Jennings, DC. She's a chiropractor, but much more than a chiropractor. She is a true, health wizard. I guess you could say, and I know, Robin, you could probably comment more about that, because you're doing a 4-month cleanse program with her.
Yeah. And before we finish, I just want everyone to notice that the click here to download the PDF of Connie's slides. It's all there for you. And so thank you, Connie, for making that available. And yeah, I've been working with Dr. Barbara Jennings, and it's literally changed my life. I have a whole new paradigm of healing. And I know now that if anyone I know is really sick, the first thing I want to invite them to do is a major, supervised detox, and she's masterful at it. So that's just an invitation. She's just starting her next program, her 4-month program. It was life-changing for me. So she's on tomorrow.
Okay. And not tomorrow, I guess 2 days from now, on Wednesday, May 11th, the company's now doing a monthly corporate new member webinar. And this is for everybody. You don't have to pre-register, but you have to click on the link to get there. So this is something you want to share with all of your new members and even some of your, I don't want to say old members, but existing members. We can all learn from that. So this is a new training program the company's doing on a monthly basis, once a month on a Wednesday afternoon, a Wednesday morning and evening. And backed by popular demand, a couple of Thursdays ago, Harris Williams, who happens to be Connie's sponsor and a very dear, longtime friend of Robin and I, presidential director, did a training on a Thursday morning on tap rooting, and he got such rave reviews that we're bringing him back because he filled the whole 30 minutes and there wasn't a lot of time for Q&A. So this Thursday, he's going to encapsulate the training. He's going to do a short version of the training, and he'll be there for Q&A to discuss this master building skill of tap rooting. So you're not going to want to miss our Thursday morning call.
Great.
And then you already, if you weren't there with us this morning, you already missed today's morning call, but you don't want to miss that. It was another juicy one. They're all available, all of these calls, the Monday morning, the Monday evening, the Tuesday, the Thursday, they're all available on our liveyounger.youtube.com. So thank you, Liz, for getting them up there very promptly, each day. So, you can catch this. If you missed Monday's call, you can listen to the replay and you'll hear some really wonderful, inspiring stories about the results people are having with our product. So, and then last week, David did a fabulous training. And we know David loves Alavita. And in fact, he at one point said he's addicted to Alavita. And if you listen to the replay, if you missed it last week, if you listen to the replay, you'll know why he's addicted to Alavita, because it does so many wonderful things in addition to being, pretty substantial support in having healthy skin. That was a lot to cover. Now we're going to jump into some corporate updates. Robin, you want to, talk about these?
I do. And just to keep everyone posted, the company does send out a newsletter every week. And if you're not getting it, you can go to your back office and click on resources. And on the left side, it'll say corporate newsletter or something like that. And make sure you're opted in if you're not getting those. But this came out last week, and they did have an event in Costa Mesa. It was very successful. Emily was there, and they're building specific markets and going back there regularly. So you'll notice that, Costa Mesa, Tampa, Phoenix are all on that list. And so Tampa's coming up. Emily will be there. There's an Eventbrite link. If you know anyone in that area, please send them, and they'll be protected as your guest when, they register. You're the one who invited them. If you're able to attend live, all the better. But Emily will be there. And then we have our convention coming up. And I just got off a call with the rock stars, Janet Kiefer's team, and we were talking about the power of events. There's nothing like it. Leaders go to events. The people that go to events end up as leaders, and you never know that one line you can hear from someone in the hallway or waiting for this or that can literally change your life. But you get to be with our community, and it is, Gregory and I have been in a lot of companies. Nothing holds a candle to the quality of people that we have in the LifeWave community. And so you get to meet all kinds of people from literally all over the world. So the link is there to register. We'd love to see you in person. There's the link there to get your hotel room. It's a very, very good price at this fabulous Hyatt in Orlando. So check it out. And so we're going to, if there's corporate updates, we'll put them all together. And Emily does a book of the month club, and Gregory goes, that's the same book I'm reading right now. So it was just, and Emily is, she's like me. We love the personal development part. And this is Robin Sharma is one of my great mentors in the world out there in the leadership realm. I didn't know who he was until he spoke at a convention that we were at years ago. And then I became a huge fan. And so he's fabulous. You can look him up online, robinsharma.com, and he's got many other books. So I highly recommend that. And Gregory, I'd like you
I'll
to.
just comment about Robin. The book many of you might have heard of is The Monk That Sold His Ferrari. And literally, he's a very successful business guy, sold his Ferrari, became a monk, then came back out of the cave. And now he's, a personal development trainer and wonderful stuff. So, so I don't know how I saw online a prompting about the book, and I read today that there's a book club, and I said, oh my gosh, that's the same book. My book, it just came in via Amazon a couple of days ago. So I just started on it. So,
I'm about an hour into the 10 hours of the Audible. So anyway, and so Gregory, why don't you go over the next part?
Yeah. LifeWave is doing something that most companies don't do, and they just let distributors stay a distributor for an extended period of time without a renewal fee. Most companies charge a renewal fee, so every year if someone doesn't renew, their distributorship kind of comes to an end. Well, LifeWave has chosen a different path right now, and that's not to say in the future there might not be a renewal fee, or there might be a renewal fee, but right now, anyone that's been inactive for 1 year or more, or 12 months or more, is going to get a letter, and the letter started going out today, a 30-day notice advising inactive distributors that their account was going to be reclassified as a customer or as a preferred customer unless they become active. And they can do any one of these things that are listed here. Very simply, they could just place an order. If they want to be a distributor, maybe they should buy something. However, if they don't want to buy something, they can sell something, because we know that preferred and retail customers count as PV, and they need to have 55 PV to keep them active, to keep their account from being converted to a distributor. So they can personally sponsor a preferred customer, or they can, one of their personally sponsored customers can place an order, or they can enroll a new preferred customer. So somebody that's had a customer purchase something in the last 12 months is not going to get the letter because they're considered active. Now, this is going to be a new process going forward. So going forward, next month, the letter will go out to a new group of people that have been active for 12 months. So this is kind of a new thing going forward to kind of clean up the database. So, if people don't want to be involved, they don't have to be involved, but they're going to be taken out of the binary tree. It's really important you know that. They'll be taken out of the binary tree. They'll still be personally sponsored by you as a customer. And if they go to place an order, if they're just placing a single order, they're going to pay retail. If they want preferred customer price, they have to go on to the subscribe to our preferred customer program. They don't have to pay the $19.95. They just have to, click, yes, I want to go on auto ship. So,
so let me mention something about this, because I used one of my emails for one of my customers that didn't want to get emails, and she's in her 80s. And so I got the letter today from the company, because they're giving people 30 days. Today was the day they're sending out the letter. They're giving people 30 days to decide what they want to do. So our job is to reach out to people, because we know a lot of people don't read their emails. But the letter came in today, and with the letter, it just is very clear that they have until June 9th to take any of those actions that Gregory mentioned. And it also gives the details for how to reach the company, whether they're in the European customer support or US Canadian customer support, that they can call and place their order. So they're giving people plenty of time, but our job is to really look at who did you have as customers. Go to your back office, go under personally enrolled, go to sort, and you will see all your customers show up together. And a courtesy call to each one of them is a really good idea. To your
not to your customers,
inactive distributors. I mean, you want to look at your inactive distributors. That's what I mean, not the customers. Yeah. So you just sort by the red X's, and you can reach out to those people and just let them know as a courtesy that this is what the company's doing, and they did send you a letter to the email that's on file. And again, it's like what Connie says, it's caring for them and letting them know, because they may miss it and they may want to, stay in the distributor category. So that's part of our job, is to be responsible and take care of the people that we brought in.
And they will get a 5-day notice. So 5 days prior. So I guess on June 4th, they're going to get a 5-day notice. And then on June, if they haven't responded by June 9th, they will be reclassified as a customer. So there it is. And so down here in the good to know section, most of this, all of you know, so I don't know if we need to cover it on the call. I think everyone can, thumb through their newsletter, and except good to know, there's a post in our good to know Facebook group for people that want to share a room in Orlando. So there is, we're trying to facilitate some room sharing to help people that are traveling alone to cut down on your costs.
Great. And I think we got it, honey.
I think we did. So with that being said, we'll, thank everyone for being part of the greatest team on earth, and, the most wonderful team in LifeWave. We love you all. And we'll see you on the doctor call tomorrow night. And bring guests.
Honey, let's rename that, please. It's not a doctor call.
Oh, okay.
This is where Gregory and I don't always agree. It's an introduction to LifeWave and the technology and David. And we do have different practitioners on, but they're not all doctors. And it is an introduction to LifeWave that is a great call to bring guests. And you don't even need to be there.
Right. But we will have a doctor on there. All right. Thanks, everyone. Good night.